Damon Martin MMA fighting here with Combat Sports' own power couple, Bellator middleweight contender Austin Vanderford and his lovely wife and BKFC fighter Paige VanZant. Welcome back, guys. How are you?
We're doing really good. Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. So is that official now? Combat Sports Power Couple? Is that like the new nickname I just gave you guys?
I think so. I think we're up there as far as like power couples. We're climbing the rankings pretty high.
We're getting there, yeah.
I love it. Obviously, a million things to talk to you guys about. Before I get to your fight, Paige, which is coming up very soon, Austin, let me start with you and say congratulations again. Huge win over Fabian Edwards. Obviously, you are right there now where you are going to be in line for a title shot in the near future. You got to be feeling good coming off that win.
Yeah, I feel really good. That was one I really wanted to get. And somebody I had spoke about before that I really wanted to fight for a while. So felt good. And yeah, I mean, all indications are I'm next. I think Gegard and John Salter fight August 13th, and I'll be in attendance, and I'm getting the winner of that fight. So I'm excited. You know, hopefully the title fight for myself happens before the end of the year is what we're really shooting for.
It's funny, years ago when you first popped up on the radar, Austin, I thought, man, when you went to Bellator, I said, man, I can't wait to see Austin and Douglas Lima. I think that's gonna be a really fun fight when you're fighting at welterweight. Here you are now, you're about to fight for the middleweight title. Like you had to switch things up on me a little bit there.
Yeah. I mean, I got to the point where it was more uncomfortable than I wanted to make 170, and I feel confident in myself at 185 as well. And I thought, you know what, I'd rather enjoy life and prolong my fighting career and just fight up a weight class.
And beyond that, he's thick. Like he might not be the tallest 85er, but this boy is really thick. So making 170 was too much of a cut for him.
For sure.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, you mentioned, of course, we know John Salter's getting the next title shot. Are you, I assume, willing to wait and get the winner? Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah, that's what the plan is, and that's what we've been told and stuff. But I've also spoken that, you know, if anything were to happen to either one of the guys, even if, you know, I would hope that if Mousasi wasn't able to fight or something, that they would make an interim or something, because I don't know that he's been active for a little while. So I told Bellator and Coker that if either of the guys get hurt, I'm training full time now. I'm ready to step in short notice for that. But the plan is to have me fight the winner at the end of the year. So
yeah,
you know, if I got to wait a little bit, I guess that's what we got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you guys are always training, but when one of you has a fight and then the other one has a fight, like, do you kind of turn the attention to that person? Because I know, Paige, you're in a little different situation now because you're training in boxing more than you are in MMA. So obviously you're not training every day at American Top Team. Like, how do you guys balance that when obviously Austin just had a big fight? Now you have a big fight just a couple weeks away.
Yeah, actually our training is completely separate. We don't train together at all anymore. I'm training up. It's Mundo Boxing with Pedro Diaz. I really felt like after my last fight, I would benefit a ton from working with a straight boxing coach. And I truly feel like that's the case. And yeah, we're pretty separate. Of course, when it comes down to fight week, he 100% focuses on me and vice versa. But we're both in like the prime of our career. So it doesn't really make sense for him to come with me to practice or anything like that. So we're totally separate until fight week.
Correct if I'm wrong, but Mundo Boxing, I believe Tyron Woodley's down there training right now as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I actually just trained with him this morning. So we're both doing our camps with Mundo and
nice.
The family team. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I know a lot of the American Top Team people, like, you kind of spread out down there, but there's like, it's almost like a family of people that kind of travel around and train together. So obviously you kind of got the best of all worlds, I imagine.
We definitely do. There's quite a few of us that are actually like going and training with Pedro. It's myself, Tyron. I know Masvidal comes in periodically and is training with him. He is an extremely accomplished coach, and he has trained some of the best boxers in the world. And it's just an awesome environment, that like straight boxing environment, and just to know the caliber of athletes he's been able to produce. It gives me a lot of confidence in myself, just knowing that I'll have him in my fight camp and in my corner.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Paige, I know I messaged you right after your BKFC debut, and I thought you did an amazing job. Obviously, you came up short on the judges' scorecards, but I think I told you that in my original message. I said your fifth round was your best. You really came on, and it looked like you finally got comfortable. And I say this all the time. I don't expect anyone to jump in the first bare knuckle fight and immediately be like a bare knuckle brawler. It's just not an easy thing to do. You can't train it. You can't go in. I mean, I know Austin can take a punch. I assume you're not punching him at home for fun, just like get practice on your bare knuckles. But you obviously have, and I know you're tough on yourself. I heard you talk about you're very tough on yourself. I get it. But coming into this second camp, getting ready for the second fight, like how much more comfortable do you feel getting ready for the second bare knuckle fight versus the first?
Yeah, there were so many questions that there was questions going into the fight that you couldn't answer until you actually fought bare knuckle, right? So especially coming from, I've never been in a street fight in my life. So I've never truly felt the like damage and like the intensity of fighting with no gloves on. And you can't train the way that you fight 100%. You know, we can't punch each other in the gym without gloves. And there are elements to bare knuckle that are completely different than even straight boxing. So it took until that fifth round for me to figure it out. I feel like I did learn quickly. Unfortunately, it wasn't fast enough in the fight. But now going into this second one, I do feel like the experience is going to be a huge advantage. And the people who have more bare knuckle fights, they're going to prevail. They're going to be the ones that continue to rise above, because it's just that it's experience. And I feel like that's in any fight game. The more experience you have, the better. And going into this next one, yeah, I do feel like now I know exactly what I'm in for, right? There's no questions. I know exactly what it's going to feel like. I know how short the rounds are going to be. I know how, like, the pace that I need to set immediately. And I'm really confident for this next fight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. Absolutely zero offense to Britain Hart. Obviously, credit to her for getting the win. But actually, that night I was thinking if there was a sixth round, I think that would have been it. Like, I think because you were really pouring it on that fifth. So if there had been a sixth round in that fight, you would have been celebrating a knockout win, because I felt like you were pouring it on right at the end there.
I completely agree. But there was, nothing to take away from her. But yeah, I completely agree. I feel like if I would have just had that fifth round and started that way, because I know my cardio has always been really like something that I've been able to carry myself on. I have very, very good cardio. I always have. And typically the longer the fight goes, the better for me. So I feel like, yeah, if the fight could have been like 6, 7, 8 rounds, then it would have absolutely gone in my favor and I would have knocked her out. But, those are questions that I needed to answer in my career. And I'm happy that I was able to do it now. And especially because, I'm still young and I just started bare knuckle. I don't plan to leave their organization anytime soon. So I have those questions answered. And now continuing on in my bare knuckle career, I feel so confident, especially with my speed and my power. I've always hit really hard, but now Pedro is making me really fast and really accurate. And I'm just excited. It's really fun. And especially we're hyped. We went to the BKFC fights this weekend, watched Thiago Alves, and it just kind of like, it gives you that like nervous goosebumps. And I'm really excited for my next fight.
Absolutely. It's fun. We've done these combo interviews a few times, and I know you guys always are in each other's corners and help each other out. And I know the nerves are always there. I talked to you, Paige, when you were in Austin's corner, and same thing. Austin, you've done it now once with the bare knuckle thing, and you've been to the bare knuckle fights a couple times. Now, it's a different animal. I say that all the time. How have your nerves been dealing with like being in, like watching Paige fight and then now getting ready for the second one?
I think
actually we took him out of my corner for that last fight, but now we're going to throw him. I need him in my corner. So
yeah, it's tough. I was nervous. I was super nervous for the first one, admittedly. But for this one, I'm just really confident, especially like seeing how the fight went and seeing, what she has inside of her. And I know she's got the dog inside of her and all that. So I think for this next one, like, it's going to be on full display for the whole fight. And, man, I say the two top attributes to have in bare knuckle is one, being tough, and then two, experience in it. And so going into this one, she's going to have both of those in her favor. And I'm just really confident. Not to take anything away from Rachel too. I know she's tough and they fought in the past, but I think Paige is going to be able to really pour it on, and I'm excited. And I know like the fire that she has inside of her. And even like looking at Thiago's fight, his first fight, he had a split decision with Julian Lane, and Julian Lane's a really good fighter in bare knuckle as well. But going out there this second time against Yuli Diaz, it was like just a different animal. And, and he ended up getting the finish in the third round. I think you're going to see something similar with Paige. Like, they understand you understand like what it feels like and what you need to go out there and do. And and it's less of a technical fight, and it's just more of a brawl, this bare knuckle stuff. And I think she really realizes and understands that.
Yeah. Now, Paige, I think when we did an interview before your bare knuckle debut, you know, I brought up the possibility of more people from MMA coming over and, you know, getting some of these kind of marquee fights. And at that point, you're like, you know, you weren't really sure about revisiting past wins because obviously you're like, we already have a win over certain people. But now you're facing Rachel, who you have a win over, obviously. She's making her bare knuckle debut. So what were your thoughts when you got her as an opponent? Because obviously it's a big fight. Everyone knows you, everyone knows Rachel. But again, I know you already have a win over her in MMA. So is there any like hesitation about fighting her again in bare knuckle?
No, you know what, BKFC, it's so funny now, like there is a lot of fighters coming over to BKFC into the bare knuckle box, and I didn't anticipate to be like all these chicks like Pearl Gonzalez and Rachel and me. And no, you know, I think bare knuckle, they just told me like, hey, Rachel's your next fight. And honestly, I was really excited about it. I think the more experience I have, the better. It gives me the opportunity to fight somebody who is in my position going into it. Now I have the experience in bare knuckle and she doesn't. So it did give me a little like boost of confidence knowing that obviously I do have a win over her already, but two, I'll have the experience advantage. And, you know, I think it's just going to make the longevity of my career in bare knuckle longer if I'm able to take these fights and really build myself. You know, I'm in it for the long haul, and I feel like me getting this experience even over somebody I've already beaten is just going to make me better.
And I think too, I think also though, like, especially this one makes so much sense because you're getting two sides of like marketable people. And whereas the majority of the time, like Paige is obviously on the A side of the marketability and whatnot. And you know, they're paying her really good money and they're really trying to build this sport up. And so if you get another fighter like Rachel coming in, who also brings a big following, and, you know, you see like how boxing and how fighting's like evolving, and a lot of it is about, you know, these YouTubers and people and just making these big fights like this. And this is just one that makes sense, even though they have fought already. It's something that just makes sense.
Yeah, Paige, I did get a laugh at your initial promo for your fight with Rachel on Instagram. I was like, hey, you know what? I was like, I embraced it. I thought it was hilarious. It was
absolutely. I knew exactly what everybody was thinking, and I just wanted to beat them to the punchline, you know? So that's exactly what it is, though. People are going to tune in. Obviously, we're marketable. I see Rachel as a very attractive woman. You're going to tune in for the boobies and stay for the violence. Like at the end of the day, we're bare knuckle boxing each other. Obviously, we don't care that much about our looks, but if it gets fans to tune in, I'm happy about it.
Yeah. Let me ask to that point. We mentioned obviously you got way more comfortable later in your fight with Britain. Now, obviously, I'm not going to ask you to make a bold prediction here or anything, but do you feel like, you know, because I talked to Rachel a couple of weeks ago, and you know, you can only prepare so much for a bare knuckle fight. I mean, again, you're not sitting in your gym punching your teammates with bare knuckle. You can't really experience that. And again, everyone I've talked to before they go in, they have a certain level of competence, and then, you know, it kind of gets knocked out of you a little bit when you actually realize what it's like. Is there a part of you that feels like you may be able to overwhelm her in those early rounds now that you are the experienced fighter, you know what to expect, and she doesn't? Is there a part of you that feels like you could overwhelm her pretty quickly?
There's a part of me that believes that. There's a part of me also that knows I still have to be smart in this fight. It's not necessarily 100% a brawl. You still have to be really technical and not get hit. I do feel really, really confident in the pressure I'm going to put on her, the pace I'm going to be able to maintain. I know how good my cardio is. And the difference between like the rounds, it's 5 2-minute rounds, right? So it's like really, really short rounds, but it's a sprint, right? It's almost like your cardio has to be better in different areas. It's a 2-minute sprint. There's no lag time. There's no jujitsu. There's nothing like that. So just like the confidence I have knowing that I've done it already, I kind of know what to prepare for. I do feel like that gives me an advantage.
Yeah, to that point, you know, obviously you've immediately become one of the faces of BKFC. I saw you were also doing the Game Bread Fighting Championships commentary, which was awesome. So,
yeah.
But you know, I was at your very first fight in Austin, Texas, down with the UFC, and I remember you were early in the card, but you won fight of the night right out of the gate, and you immediately had the spotlight on you. From then on out, you never really exited the spotlight when you were in the UFC, and now again, you're one of the faces of BKFC, and you're one fight into your career, but so you've handled pressure. You know this pressure. You understand this pressure. But Is there a sense at all of like a bit of a do or die moment here? Like, you need to win here because obviously the last thing you want to do is start your bare knuckle career 0-2. Obviously, again, you had a great fight the first time, but at the end of the day, you want to win. So do you feel any of that going into this? Do you put any pressure on yourself saying, hey, I need to go out there and win?
Absolutely. I mean, I do put that pressure on myself, and especially going into this one, knowing like I'm a UFC veteran, and at the end of the day, I left the UFC, and I want to make my mark in bare knuckle boxing, and I want to make my mark in all these other organizations. I want to be known as a skilled, talented professional fighter. And obviously, there's one thing about my career that I know I've never taken an easy fight, right? I had the majority of my career in the UFC. Almost all of my career was in the UFC. I had one amateur fight. I went directly into pro, and I've never fought somebody that was like a throwaway fight for me. I feel like I can always have the confidence knowing I fought the toughest of the tough. But beyond that, yeah, I love winning, and that's the point. That's the reason we fight, is because we want to win. And I do put the pressure on myself, especially this fight, especially against Rachel, knowing I've already beaten her, but it's a different animal, and it's a different feeling inside of me now. I feel like I need to go out there and I need to finish her quickly because my confidence depends on it, I guess.
Yeah. Austin, you were at the fights. I saw you guys, they put the camera on you guys this past weekend. As you mentioned, your teammate, Thiago Alves, had an incredible performance against Yuli Diaz. That was such an incredible fight. Now, be honest. Now, you're a Bellator fighter. You're about to fight for the Bellator title, hopefully before the end of the year. Do you get the itch to do bare knuckle? Have you had it yet? Have you had that little bit itch? Because I know, like there's a lot of bare knuckle fighters around ATT now.
Yeah. I mean, like going back to Thiago's fight again, it was just so inspiring. He got dropped in the second round, and it just like seeing that heart and that will, to get up and then finish his opponent a round later. It was like, man, I want to get in there and do that. And I like the cuts. I like all that stuff. But no, I've got so much that I want to accomplish in MMA, and as much as I have the itch, that's something that can come later on in my career. And I definitely think though that I'll take a bare knuckle fight before I'm all finished with fighting and all that. But for now, I'm so focused on MMA and just accomplishing the things I want to do there.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this is a conversation I've had with both of you together and separately in terms of your careers. And listen, this is not me just sitting here trying to take shots to the UFC, but again, they are the biggest, combat sports organization in the world. And Paige, I know we talked many times when you were coming to the end of your UFC career, the issues you had with pay and salary and things like that. And you were very vocal about that. And in a lot of ways, I just applaud you for doing that because I don't think enough people talk about it. But now here we are. UFC is still huge. Obviously, they're still the biggest. That's fine. But you're making a career in bare knuckle, and from my understanding, making a fairly good living. Austin, you are now in Bellator, and I immediately, when you found the Contender Series, I was like, well, he's going to be in the UFC. Like, I just imagined that's your future. Now you're in Bellator. You're basically waiting for a title shot in the middleweight division. Like, how good are these options to have out there where you guys are both making a living comfortably, living a good life, and neither of you are in the UFC? This is not something you could have imagined, 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah.
No, and especially I feel like because I had my whole career was built off the UFC. I was in the UFC for like 6 years, and it was it was very nerve-wracking. There wasn't a lot of people who left the UFC in the prime of their career. There was a lot of veterans that had left the UFC that were kind of on that tail end looking for a few more fights. For me, I was a free agent at 26 years old. I was really young, and it was nerve-wracking to know you're leaving like the powerhouse of combat sports. But now I know it was the best decision I've ever made. And since I've left, I've seen, a multiple fighters leaving the UFC. And it's not like a diss at the UFC necessarily, but I think it's more an awakening in fighters, knowing that there is money out there and we deserve to be compensated for what we're doing. And, people you see like the fight purse, right? But we don't get paid to train. We show up, we have to pay our gym, our trainer, all of our expenses, travel, everything. And to be able to live comfortably and know that I don't have to, like, when I'm done fighting, get a regular job and have to go back to work. I'm not planning for when I retire to go to college or try to figure out what's next in my life. I'm able to just fight and save money and plan when I want to retire. I can just retire.
Yeah, and I think something too that has been so big in our careers and our lives is, and it's kind of funny, like, to bring it up, but meeting Malky and signing with First Round was like truly like I can't even overstate it enough how much of a life changer it's been for us. And before we signed with them, he was like, I need you guys to agree that you're going to follow my lead and you're going to do what I say and you're going to trust me. And like, so far it really, it's like, it's hard to even imagine. Like, it's just crazy. They've just done such a good job. And he's kind of been one of the front guys in getting his clients to move on and go to these other organizations and get paid. And it's been worth it.
Yeah, it truly is. Like Malky and first round management, like I had my opinions. I kind of knew I knew I was undervalued, but I didn't know what my value was. And Malky's the one who really went out there and fought for me and put it all on the line and told me like, hey, like, don't take no for an answer. And he was like the force behind it all. And he changed our lives. Within 6 months of signing with him, our lives are completely changed. And it does, like, I had a conversation with him a while ago. Like, I used to kind of be like this nervous, always question things, and not depressed, but definitely like, he just feels like now I'm a happier person and I don't have the stress of like the unknown anymore. Now I feel like I can just go to training and continue to live my life as a combat sports athlete.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask to see the paychecks or anything, but also I saw the birthday present you gave to Paige. I'm like, all right, they're rolling pretty hard down there now.
Yeah, no, we really are doing well. And truly, I mean, we feel super thankful and we have put in a lot of hard work, but a lot of it too has just been the guidance of Malky and Abe and first round. And we trust what they have to say, and we trust in the direction that they're putting our careers in, and we'll just keep going.
Yeah. It does feel like though, like I fought I was in the UFC for 6 years. I've been fighting for 8 years now. Like, it's finally paying off. Like this year, like finally paid off to where I'm feeling comfortable with my life.
Yeah. Now, before I get away from bare knuckle, obviously your focus right now, Paige, is 100% Rachel Ostovich coming up in July. But obviously you've seen, Pearl Gonzalez just had a great debut. I talked to her earlier today. She's 100% committed to bare knuckle. That's her full focus right now, which I love to hear. Maybe you saw the story the other day. Beck Rawlings is in talks to come back to BKFC and also be a Bellator fighter at the same time. Obviously, I know that's a big one because she was the bare knuckle champion. I know she said she would love to get a rematch with you because you beat her in the UFC. Are you excited, not necessarily just about those two fights, but the expansion of your division in BKFC, the additions, and not just like any additions, like big additions?
Oh, it's huge. Like, looking down at the 125 roster in BKFC, it's huge. You're getting some of the biggest names in combat sports. You're getting extremely talented female fighters. And there's not a lot of people would do bare knuckle boxing, but to see all these like powerful, strong women now transitioning over or being a part of bare knuckle boxing, it's huge. And I think it's going to just build the sport. Obviously, bare knuckle boxing and BKFC, they're growing so quickly. And I feel like they're making the right power moves to become a household name in the combat sports world. And beyond that, it's just exciting. Like the whole bare knuckle boxing thing. If you go watch a bare knuckle like BKFC card, it is the most exciting fights you've ever seen in your life.
Have you been to one, Damon? Have you been to
I have not actually. Well, so I was actually supposed to come to Paige's fight in February, but we were still in the middle of the COVID madness. And I had an issue with that, so I couldn't come down for that one. But I will. I promise I'm going to come, because every time I talk to Dave Feldman, he's like, "Are you coming? Are you coming?" And now that I wanted to wait until we had a crowd. Now there's crowds back. Like, I want to be there with the fans. I want to experience it, because watching it on Saturday night, man, like hearing the rise of the crowd and hearing, like, you got to have that. You got to be there for that.
It's amazing.
It's crazy. It really is. It's my favorite combat sport. It's the most fun thing. It honestly, it makes MMA seem like kind of easy, it's not easy, but it's crazy. It's hard to explain until you're like right there watching it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, before I get you guys out of here, a couple more things. Paige, I wanted to ask you, a few months ago, I get a lot of press releases. As a media member, and I get a lot of things. And I got a press release a few months ago, and it said, Paige VanZant launches her own website. And I was like, okay, well, this is, fighters have websites all the time. And then I read it and I was like, okay. And then as time has passed, I've come to understand this more. About a year ago, I did a pretty lengthy article with Beck Rawlings talking about her starting her own OnlyFans account, and it blew up. And she talked about, like, during the pandemic, because she wasn't fighting, how much that meant to her. It basically supported her family. I mean, that's really how she was able to pay the bills during a year when she didn't fight. She still hasn't fought, and that's a big deal. So kind of give me the inspiration behind you starting your own website. And now I imagine, from what I see on Twitter and everything, and in your Instagram, you're doing pretty well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there was always this like back and forth, right? And I talked to you about it. It was like this, like, there's like two sides of it. One, I didn't want to put myself in a position to where I would lose business opportunities based on having an exclusive fan content site. But there's like, I don't know, I feel like I've already seen as like a sex symbol in the sports world. I might as well have the monetization behind it. And I wanted to do it on my own terms though. So I actually joined Fan Time. It's a separate company. I'm not with OnlyFans, but it's Paige VanZant.com. It's my own website. I have a lot of control over what goes on there. It's basically just me doing exclusive things. I don't know how else to say that. But yeah, you know what? And I'm proud to say I'm a part of it. I work hard for my body. I work hard for who I am. And there's a side of me that's extremely girly and feminine. And I get to share that on my fan site. And now I think it's becoming a lot more acceptable. Before, like, the OnlyFans was seen necessarily just more for, like, I guess, porn stars.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more X-rated, just the view from like the public, not saying that that's what people actually have on there, but I wanted to do it my own way. I wanted to do it professionally and have my own website, and that's what I've done. And it is an exclusive fan site.
Yeah, it's funny because when I talked to Beck about it, I wasn't aware. Like, I did my research at that point, and there's a lot of celebrities who do these kind of things now. Like, you're not alone in this, but like, I may have mentioned this to you when we talked about it like a year ago. I said, I think in this country we're so repressed about like nudity and things like that. People freak out so bad, like, oh my God, like it's not that you're, especially people who like watch combat sports, like you're watching people punch people in the face for money. And you're really gonna have a problem that someone, you know, gets naked on the internet, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
But like,
we were like, during the pandemic, we had our little like nude photo shoot that we did on Instagram. Like, I was comfortable doing that for Instagram, so I might as well just start a fan site.
Yeah. Now I'm not going to ask for the receipts, but I've heard, and I know from talking and I've seen the stories. Bellator is very famously one who started her own OnlyFans, and she made a lot of money doing that. Now I don't know how that stick around after that, but I assume she's still making pretty good money. Are you happy with the financial arrangement you're getting from your website?
Yes. I will say that, okay, so when I signed with BKFC at the bare knuckle boxing, I was making more money than I had made in my entire UFC career. Now I'm making more money than my entire BKFC contract in like a month.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I mean, it's just like I said, it's your personal choice. And I imagine, you show and do what you want on your own. It's your thing. You own it.
Absolutely. And I think that's, what I want to say too, to speak on is that I'm sharing what I'm comfortable with. I'm sharing as much as I want to. It's my website. It's my fan experience, but I'm doing it more like it is for the fans. I had so many people ask me to do something like this, the exclusive content site. And it's a place where I can communicate one-on-one with absolutely every single one of my subscribers. And I can't do that on like Instagram. I have nearly 3 million followers on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all these other things. And with the fan site, it is a smaller group, but I'm able to have that one-on-one real engaging experience with people. And that's what I really like. I'm getting to know people one-on-one and chat with people, and then also have some fun and be really cute and sexy too.
Yeah. Austin, I know we talked when you guys did the photo shoots over the quarantine. You guys were having fun with it. Is this fun? I mean, I imagine you're involved in this in some way, shape, or form. I don't know because I'm not seeing it, but I assume you're probably you're probably involved in some way, fashion, or form with this.
Okay. Most of the time, no, he is not a part of it. As beautiful as my husband is, I think the fans subscribed to see me.
I'm not the desired one out of the but
sometimes he is behind the camera.
Yeah. And it's of course, before anything, she asked me and how I felt with it. I think I was more like,
he was
yeah,
more
babe,
like,
go do
it.
it.
Well, and we called his mom, we called my mom, we
Yeah.
called, and they were actually more supportive than I was at first. I was kind of the one against it. He pushed me like, screw it, go for it, go have fun. And he's the one who pushes me more on the edge of what I'm putting out there.
Yeah.
Now I know, because you did obviously Sports Illustrated, we talked around Sports Illustrated, you've done like those kind of things. But in a weird way, like, has doing your own fan site made you more comfortable in your own skin in a way? Like the fact, I know that you're an athlete, so you work very hard on conditioning your body and things like that, but that doesn't mean you can't have body image issues. Like there's none of that.
No,
has that given you like that kind of confidence doing this?
Yes.
She definitely has her, as many
issues.
She's hard on herself too with her,
but I feel
her
like
body issues.
Female fighters can be more hard on themselves than the traditional female, because right now I have like 20 pounds to lose, which is like normal for me. That's like a great weight cut. That's where I'm happy with that. But also when I see myself at 126, I'm like, holy cow, I look amazing. And then when I gain like 20 pounds, I'm like, wait, I looked so much better like that. But it's just not realistic for me to be that lean constantly. So I do have those body confidence issues, but with the fan side, I am, obviously I get a lot of compliments on there, but I am seeing myself in a different light and knowing to be truly just happy in my own skin, and seeing like, getting those, like, I do professional photos and, seeing yourself like that, it does make you more confident. You start seeing yourself as really beautiful.
Yeah, and you do get to weed out a lot of people. I know when I talked to Beck, she said one of the things she liked most about OnlyFans was people have to pay to be a subscriber, and people who are paying are not going to be the ones being jerks on the internet, being trolls on the internet. They're paying for you, so obviously they're a fan of you, and it kind of weeds out those kind of like negative comments. And I imagine it's the same thing on your side. Like it's a lot of positive. And listen, that makes a difference. I mean, when you read terrible comments, that's why I never read comments on anything. But I imagine that's a big difference, right?
It's a big difference. And I'm so happy to like sign on and start replying to people, because they are my real fans. They're paying to be a part of my life. And it's hard because I love all the fans I have on social media, but a lot of the people who follow me for hating on me. And they'll, be the first ones to post a negative comment behind any picture I put out there. But here, when you're paying for my time, you're a real fan and you actually want to engage and have a real conversation with me. And I absolutely love that. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback. It gives me more confidence going into like fight week, because I do see like, holy cow, all these people support me. And it is really nice.
It's funny because Austin, I know we joked, one of our first interviews a long time ago when you joked about being Austin VanZant, Mr. VanZant, and you kind of embrace, it. You don't like shy away from it, but I love that about you, because you've never shied away from being your wife's biggest fan. Like, I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, we had to plug in. You were gonna
no worries.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it is like I love being her fan and being married to her and all that. And I have fun with all the hating, and I'm a pretty thick-skinned guy, so it's like I don't really, it's tough for me to really, I read all my comments and stuff like that. That stuff doesn't really get to me that much. So but yeah, I mean, I'm her biggest fan. I support her so much, and and I just believe in her so much too, and all that. And so I'm really excited for this fight coming up, and I think it's funny to be Mr. VanZant.
Before I get out of here, Austin, let me ask you, obviously you mentioned August is going to be Mousasi and Salter. You're going to get the winner, assuming that works out. Do you have a pick in that fight? Do you lean one way or the other in that one?
Yeah, I think Mousasi is going to come away with that. Salter is very tough and gritty, and he's a good grappler and whatnot, but I think Mousasi, and if I'm going to be honest, I hope Mousasi wins, because that's who I want to fight. And I think I have a lot of respect for both the guys and all that, but Mousasi is like a name that would mean so much to me to beat and to get the belt from. And and he's widely regarded as one of the best middleweights in the world right now. And I believe in myself in that position too. And I think beating him would validate that. And and all that. So I'm excited. I think it'll be a tough fight, but I do think Mousasi will come away with the win.
Yeah, Mousasi's a legend. Like I remember when he left. The only thing that made me sad about him leaving the UFC is I always wanted to see. Like I thought him and Adesanya would have been an incredible fight. Yep. And like that, Mousasi's the guy. Mousasi's a legend. So of course, absolutely nothing against John Salter, but that's the guy you want to beat to take the title, right? Like you want to beat a Mousasi. Exactly.
You know, because that's the when you're going out there, you want to be in the best. You want to be the best in the world, and you got to beat the best. And I feel like Mousasi's that guy, and I feel like he could possibly be the very best middleweight in the entire world. So for me to go and beat him would mean so much to me. So I hope he wins that fight, and I think he will.
Absolutely. Well, Paige, Austin, thank you guys so much for taking the time. I'm so glad we could catch up before your fight, Paige. Obviously, have a good rest of your training camp. I know it's now just a couple weeks away, so obviously you're getting excited. So obviously, best of luck in the fight. Thank you guys for doing this, and I'm sure we'll catch up again in the next couple months.
Definitely,
sure.
yeah. Oh, and we have. So I've been putting out our like vlogs on YouTube. It's YouTube, a kick-ass love story, but we're actually having them. We have our own little reality series coming out.
Yeah.
So stay tuned because
nice.
Yeah, behind the scenes, more in depth of our lives, and it's all going to be professionally done. It's not just me doing all the editing anymore. Yeah. So we're excited to share that, and like you can see, more in depth behind everything. You know, the fan content side, his career, my career, everything. It's all.
And I assume that'll be with you during fight week for BKFC too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We're gonna do a whole reality series.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you guys are always busy. Good Lord, I see you on Instagram. It's like, do you guys take a day off ever? Like, do you ever take a day off?
Sunday, buddy. Yeah, Sunday's rest day.
Well, I appreciate the time as always. Again, look forward to the fight, Paige. Again, congrats on your win, Austin. Look forward to seeing you fight for the Bellator title really soon, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Okay?
Yep, you're the man, buddy. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.